24 hours in a day. I'd like to take a few more hours you think you can handle. That's a little joke. That's what jobs will tell you. Managing your time is a very important skill. Who knows how many hours there is in a day? 24. But that's one of the problems. It's too many people think that they have 24 hours to do things. Who's good at math here? What's your name? Stand up, Michael. How many hours does the average person sleep? 8. You're gonna keep count, right? Got 8 hours there. What's the average work day or school day?
7 hours.
7 hours. Keeping that, right?
Add that up.
Somebody's adding, right?
On average, how long does it take you to get dressed in the morning?
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Eat your breakfast.
10 minutes.
5 minutes.
All right. We're gonna take it an hour. Keeping that, right?
You don't need
All right, we're at 16. All right. What about eating dinner at night? Half an hour, 30 minutes. Cleaning the table, doing the dishes, we'll make it an hour. What you got?
Help him out. Somebody help him out.
All right, we're give or take we're at 18 because our mathematician here needs a calculator. What about your travel to work or your travel to school?
About there and back is like an hour.
There's your bus. We're talking walking to the bus stop, waiting for that long green, that yellow bus to come and get to school. Let's say 30 minutes. So back and forth, that's what? Where are we at? We're at 18 hours, 19 hours. I think we're at 19. But we'll say 18 just for, keep it at minimum. How many hours are left? If you started with 24 and we just wasted 18 hours doing normal stuff, how many hours are left?
6, right?
6 hours. Good job. He is good at math. So you don't have 24 hours. You really have about 6 hours. And if you waste 2-3 hours watching TV, a couple hours socializing on, social media, that's your day. You just wasted your whole day. Time is one of those things that you can't make more time. That's it. You can always make more money. You can always make more friends. You can't make more time. So you've got to manage your time. Me, I have a restaurant, so I'm a restaurateur. I used to be in corporate America, but now I run a restaurant. When I watch TV, which I consider mindless entertainment, I don't watch Love and Hip Hop. I don't watch The Real Housewives of Atlanta, because that's not feeding my mind, that's not doing anything for me. I watch Bar Rescue. I watch The Prophet. I watch CNN. I watch things where it's gonna feed my mind and my soul. Mindless entertainment, I know you guys are kids, so you're gonna wanna do some mindless entertainment. But you gotta keep it to a minimum, because remember, how many hours do we have of really free time? About 6. So you gotta use it wisely. Playing video games, I know you're gonna wanna play video games. Don't use your 6 hours playing. All right, enjoy half an hour, give you an hour. You want to feed your mind. Watch television shows that are going to feed your mind. Watch YouTube shows that are going to feed your mind. You got to minimize the mindless entertainment. Any questions? Let's go to the next slide. Who's next? Who wants to read this slide? You're right, you did my math, so we get somebody else. Stand up and read it. Let's be loud.
The key to leading a productive life is time management. Choose goals, build a schedule, and have the will to follow them, or be left behind by those who use up. Those of us who do. Schedule 7 a.m. wake up, 7:15 to 8 a.m. post on productivity, blogs about my schedule, and then 8 a.m. to whenever, screw up.
That's what a lot of you guys are doing, screwing around. It's very important to make sure that you make some goals and you follow through on your goals. One of the things that I do in my life that I live by is dream, plan, do. We could always dream about doing stuff, but unless we put a plan in place and then actually put some action to that plan, it's just a dream. But dreams could be really big if you put some action to them. All right, let's go to the next slide. On the leadership. Who's next? Who wants to read this one? You just read that one. Let's spread it around. Go ahead and stand up.
Okay. All right. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader, follower, or opposer. Which one are you?
Leader, follower, or opposer. Which one are you? Leadership is a very important key, and leaders are normally rewarded very well. They're rewarded financially, they're rewarded personally by the things that they get done. So my question to you is, which one are you? I got 3 sons. One's a clear leader. He got other issues, but he's a clear leader. I got another that's a follower. We got to work on him to not be so much of a follower and to become a leader. I got a 3rd son. I'm not going to say he's a poser, but he's more of a, he does his own thing, which is nothing wrong with that, but I got to push him more into leadership roles, because leadership roles, they teach you a lot. Me, when I was younger, I was always the leader. I was a world-class athlete, so most of my leadership opportunities were on the athletic field or centered around athletics, and me just being an overall pretty cool guy. But I didn't step into my leadership roles. So yeah, it's easy to be captain of your basketball team, captain of your football team. You get to lead the stretching, you get to tell people what to do. That's easy. I shied away from student government. I shied away from leadership roles of the different groups that I was in, because that's where the real work happens. And it wasn't until I was a senior in college that I became the president of my Kappa Alpha Psi chapter. That's when there was a clear switch in my personality. I went from being the class clown to being somebody that had to plan meetings, had to work with budgets, had to meet with the deans of the university to talk about our plans for the year. What I'm doing right now, public speaking, that used to be one of my fears. I used to get up, I used to sweat, I used to not sleep weeks before presentations, I used to shake like a leaf. So I stayed away from any class that had presentations, any jobs where I had to speak. But when I became president of my school chapter, that was something I had to do. One of my very first meetings, I had to speak in front of students at 3 schools, so it was like 3,000 people. And I was shaking like a leaf. But eventually I looked out and saw that 2,000 of them were women. So then I kind of relaxed. And I realized that, this leadership thing is pretty cool. But I stepped into my leadership role, and that changed my life, because it forced me to do the work. Like you guys got to know Robert's Rules of Order. You guys got to come up with an agenda. Those are all things that help you get through life. And when you're working in a job, whether it's corporate America, skilled trades, or whatever you guys decide to do, your bosses are going to look for people with leadership qualities. Followers are nice because you always need worker bees to do the work. Be a worker bee. You can be the queen bee. King bee. I'd rather be the king bee. So like I said, your boss is gonna look for those leadership qualities, and you're only gonna get those by practicing now, by stepping up, raising your hand, stepping up to do different opportunities. You gotta get yourself out of your comfort zone. Do it now, and it'll be a lot easier later on in life. Next slide. Now we're going to study groups. Who's the next person wants to read? Right there. Let's start with the over to the red side. Study skills.
Study skills. Pay attention in class, take good notes, keep an organized notebook for each.
Cancel that.
Don't worry about
Close it. Just close it.
I did it.
Just hit close.
Close all
at
the
the
way down the
bottom.
bottom.
At the bottom.
Right there.
There we go. Keep an organized notebook for each subject, know the purpose of each assignment, ask questions in class, review. Can help you retain 80% of information. Plan a definite time and place for studying each day. Study for a while and take short breaks. Don't cram for hours. The night before a test, study a little bit each day. Think back, positive, do your best.
Okay, so over to the left side were the things that I added. Study groups. How many of you guys ever studied in a study group? Next time this question is asked, I want to see more hands raised. Study groups is probably one of the biggest advantages of learning. I don't know if you guys have any Asian kids that go to school with you, but I went to an international school, so I had a bunch of Asian kids that went to school. And they had top grades because while we were schooling around in the break room, they were all in their little study group studying. Because one of the best ways, which is the next one of the best ways to reinforce learning is to teach someone else. So when you're teaching something, that's reinforcing the learning to you. And that's one of the keys to a study group, is when you're in a study group, you're teaching each other. So you're all learning at the same time. So definitely get together. It sounds weird, but I'm telling you, it works. Get with your friends, study together. 2 minds is better than 1. So then, 3 minds would be? All right, you guys are fast learners. So get in groups and study. The next one, listen to your teachers. They created the exam, so they know what's going to be on it. So they're giving you hints in class. So if they take the time to write something on the board, they're not writing for their health. Trust me, it's going to be important. Put it in take your notes, put it down. If they do it on their computer, go ahead and ask them at the end of the lesson, hey, you mind if you email me that lesson plan that you had up there? Because they took their time to write it down, there's a good chance it's going to be on the test. I know there's a thing about trick questions. Teachers aren't trying to trick you. They are giving you hints of, if they repeat something, that means, they're probably putting it on the test. So make sure you pay attention to your teachers. And don't be afraid to ask for extra help. That's what teachers are there for. And when you get to college, you'll have teachers' assistants. Make sure you take advantage of that one-on-one time. Very, very important. Even where you sit in class, it's very important. Where do you think the optimal place to sit in class is?
Right.
That's the correct answer. Does anybody know why?
Because you want to see better and comprehend stuff better.
It's one of the reasons, not the main reason.
You can build a good relationship with your professor if you sit in the front, and you're less likely to do dumb stuff because you're right up there.
Definitely less likely to do dumb stuff because you're right up there.
You will try to shine away from them. Take your time to catch you up, right?
What's your name, young man?
Zach, Zach Terrell.
Zach. Can you see what foolishness Trey is doing right now? No, because you're in the front of the class. The only time you're gonna be distracted as to what I'm teaching you that's right in front of you is if one of these guys do something silly, you might be distracted. If someone comes in the door, you might be distracted. But everybody behind you, playing with pens, passing notes, talking to each other, that's not in your focus, because your focus is right in front of you. But Trey and Reese, on the other hand, being in the back row, anything anybody does here is gonna break their focus. That guy just over there standing up, you saw that, because it broke your focus, because you're in the back row. We ain't gotta sit in the back of the bus no more. Let's get in the front.